Think you know samurai history? Think again. Forget the Western lens.
And fuck yourself. You sniveling little shitbag.
This is the Sengoku era's what-if history, written by the Japanese themselves. You are about to witness every major historical turning point, from Nobunaga to Ieyasu, but with a terrifying twist. The demonic Oni were pulling the strings from the shadows. Hello everyone, welcome to PST Channel, game story, movie style, for your busy days. Today, we're crushing the complete saga of Nioh 1 and 2. Get ready to see the blood-soaked truth behind the legend of the blue-eyed samurai and the half-yokai warrior. The story of the first Nioh begins with the legend of a war in a land named Zipangu, an ideal land filled with golden castles and jewels. It is said that they used miraculous stones called Amriita as a key weapon to fight against the armies of Kublai Khan, the ruler of the Mongol Empire. The secret of Amriita was discovered when the Queen of England issued secret orders for pirates to search for the stone. They hoped to use it in the war against Spain to eliminate the invincible Spanish Armada, but for now, they want to keep this matter top secret. The protagonist of the story is named William, an English sailor of Irish descent. He awakens in a dungeon within the Tower of London. William has a guardian spirit named Seiyashur, who has the ability to locate the position of Amrita stones, which made William take up the profession of a pirate. But unfortunately, he stumbled upon a secret military project that would use Amrita to create weapons. Therefore, he was captured and imprisoned here. While William is breaking out of prison, he hears a conversation involving a man named Edward Kelly, an English alchemist who speaks of the Amrita ore as being a limited resource. But when the leader of Japan passes away, a civil war will occur, which is a golden opportunity to seize Amrita. They plan to take action on the day of the prisoner's execution, which is the following morning, to create an advantage for England. Kelly was given a mission to travel to Japan to incite a prolonged war, so they would have time to continue gathering Amrita stones. Kelly has the ability in alchemy to use power from Amrita to transform humans into monsters, manipulate corpses, and even steal the guardian spirits of others, with himself having a guardian spirit named Ouroboros. When William confronts Kelly, unfortunately, Seiyashur is stolen by Kelly to be used as a guiding tool to gather Amrita stones. At the same time, English soldiers catch up and shoot William until he falls into the water. But he does not give up. William decides to go out and search for Seiyashur with only her red feather left behind as a clue. After escaping from the Tower of London, William returns to his pirate profession once again. He uses the remaining clues to sail a ship named Liefde, meaning love, along with a group of pirate friends, heading east for as long as 2 years to hunt Kelly. But as it happens, they are battered by a fierce storm until only William's ship survives. He comes ashore lonely on a bay in Japan. The wreckage of the abandoned ship that drifted into port is filled with monsters shaped like giants, called Oni. After William defeats them, he meets and joins the journey with Hanzo Hattori. Hanzo is a ninja serving a nobleman named Tokugawa Ieyasu. The real name of Hanzo is Masanari. The name Hanzo is a name inherited by the leaders of the ninja clan from the land of Iga, who work under the secret orders of their master. The situation in Japan at the time, after the great man Toyotomi Hideyoshi passed away, caused 2 large samurai clans to scramble for power. One clan was led by Ishida Mitsunari, the successor Hideyoshi chose. As for the other clan, it was led by Hanzo's master, which was Tokugawa Ieyasu. Tokugawa Ieyasu sent Hanzo to Kyushu to search for Western warrior allies, but what was found instead was a large number of monsters. However, when Hanzo saw William's skill as a demon hunter, or what is called a Nioh, he invited William to join the group. Hanzo took William to meet various clans that were allies of Tokugawa. He explained to William that his guardian spirit was a cat, and further explained that guardian spirits, or Nigitama, were born from the good faith of humans, while Aratama were born from the dark side of faith. The struggle between light and darkness had continued for many years until the world was full of demons called yokai. Normally, common people cannot see guardian spirits or yokai, nor can they harm them. But as the war became more intense, yokai occurred in large numbers. Therefore, the guardian spirits had to come out to help humans in the fight to end the war between the factions of Ishida Mitsunari and Tokugawa Ieyasu as quickly as possible. In a banquet hosted by Hanzo, William met Okatsu, a female ninja or kunoichi, and her guardian spirit. She worked as a spy for Hanzo and brought news that there was movement from the Tachibana of Bizen. Hanzo, therefore, had to travel to assist the warlords in each territory to pull them in as allies. They went to meet with Lady Ginchiyo, the wife of Tachibana Muneshige, and received word that her husband was being attacked by the Oni while traveling back from Dazaifu. Even though Ginchiyo's relationship with her husband was not very good, when she and William went to help Muneshige, Ginchiyo found that it was not the real person, but Kelly who had come in disguise. William entered the fight against Kelly to reclaim Seishur, but Kelly managed to escape once more. Ginchiyo gave the sword Raikiri to William as a reward. When William touched her guardian spirit, he received knowledge of her past pain, that she had been violated by the overlord Hideyoshi while Muneshige was away. Had she refused at that time, it might have caused Muneshige and the people of Tachibana to die. She lost her child and did not want to live, but by using her combat abilities to help Muneshige, it made her find the meaning of life again. In the end, she successfully helped Muneshige. Later, Hanzo informed them that they must hurry to report Ishida's movements to Lord Tokugawa in Osaka. But while sailing the Leafta toward the destination, they were attacked by Umibozo, a giant yokai, causing the ship to be damaged. They had to stop to repair the ship at Aki. While waiting for repairs, William went to persuade the Mori clan, one of the large families that Tokugawa wanted as an ally. However, they found General Shima Sakon, the top general of Ishida Mitsunari, walking out of the Mori clan manor, leading them to believe that the Mori clan might not easily choose to side with anyone. At the same time, at Sawayama Castle, the warlords of Ishida Mitsunari faction were meeting to plan an invasion of Tokugawa's western lands. Although many clans have joined Tokugawa, making Mitsunari's side seem disadvantaged and lacking support, they hoped to benefit from the Amriita stones that Kelly had offered. The competition to persuade the warlords continued intensely, while William's ship, the Leafta, arrived in Osaka. Hanzo took William to meet Tokugawa Ieyasu, but when William saw Ieyasu's guardian spirit, he saw no prestige as Hanzo's master at all. The truth then appeared that this Tokugawa Ieyasu was only a body double. William chased Kelly again until he reached Shigi-san Castle and met former servants of Oda Nobunaga, the overlord before Toyotomi Hideyoshi. When following to Mount Hiei, he found Kelly performing a ritual using Amriita to release Aratama into Kyoto, and there was also a plan to assassinate Tokugawa Ieyasu. Kelly escaped again, while Hanzo's guardian spirit is accepting all the Aratama into his body until he becomes yokai. That demon begged William to kill him so that all the Aratama could be destroyed at once. After eliminating the demon, the Onmyo, or exorcists, use the power of Amrita to restore the barrier protecting against Aratama once more. William met Okatsu again, and she revealed a shocking truth. Her real father was Tokugawa Ieyasu, a cold-hearted man who killed his own wife to maintain the family reputation and killed his son for his own survival. Furthermore, he had tried to force her into an arranged marriage with another clan, but she chose to run away and train as a female ninja. She stated she was heading to Edo because she did not want to see her father's face again. Finally, William met the real Tokugawa Ieyasu. He told the whole story about Kelly, Seishur, and Amrita. Tokugawa revealed that he wanted to create a world without war and asked William back. What was the driving force that made him want to kill his enemies? William could not answer this question yet. Tokugawa, therefore, called William Onjin and invited him to travel to Edo together. At Edo Castle, Kelly used the power of contaminated Amriita stones, causing the people in the castle to fall into a frenzy and kill each other. Kelly noticed the gaze of Okatsu, who was disguised as a maid, and became interested in her. While William's group broke in to help Okatsu and the others escape the influence of the stones, Kelly used a trick to take Okatsu hostage and threatened Tokugawa to become a hostage instead. Tokugawa refused the offer, so Okatsu had to use her ninja abilities to survive on her own with the help of a ninja group. At the moment she fell from the castle balcony, William jumped down to help her successfully. Meanwhile, Kelly took advantage of the chaos to escape. At that moment, Tokugawa received an urgent report that the army of Ishida Mitsunari had already invaded. The war proceeded to the point where Torimoto Tada, a close general of Tokugawa, was surrounded by enemies. But Tokugawa did not send troops to help. He chose to have the soldiers prepare to deal with the army of Uesugi Kagekatsu instead. William noticed the guardian spirit and attitude of Tokugawa. He saw images of memories where Tokugawa had to endure watching his own family die and watching the people who believed in him sacrifice their lives. He accepted the pain and sacrificed everything for a single goal, peace. He absolutely could not give up, because that would mean making all the sacrificed lives go to waste. Besides the human army, Mitsunari's side also used a yokai army to join the battle. William broke in to help Torimoto Tada escape the encirclement. He helped resist the yokai army. Tori sacrificed himself to help William to quickly chase Kelly, who is at the top of the castle. But in the end, Kelly still managed to escape. Mitsunari declared war against Tokugawa's allies across Japan. Knowing that Tokugawa was not yet ready for battle, he accelerated his march without delay and captured Tokugawa's wife and children in Kyoto as hostages. This decisive battle between Mitsunari's Western Army and Tokugawa's Eastern Army is known as the Battle of Sekigahara. William joined the fight on Tokugawa's side and entered combat against Otani Yoshitsugu, who used the power of Amrita stones until he transformed into an Oni. After defeating Otani, William glimpsed his goals through the guardian spirit. In truth, Otani wanted to create a world where it wasn't just the strong who ruled, but a world where both the strong and the weak could coexist equally. On Mitsunari's side, even though the soldiers begged to retreat after losing key generals, he refused to give up because he believed in his own justice. Ultimately, Shima Sakon, his loyal general, had to step forward to fight and was defeated by William. William spared Shima's life, but Shima attempted to buy more time. Meanwhile, Kelly made a cruel offer to Mitsunari, stating he would use magic to help Shima in exchange for the lives of 300 soldiers, to which Mitsunari agreed. Kelly sacrificed the soldiers' lives to summon a giant yokai. Worse, the corpses of the fallen on the battlefield rose to fight once more. However, through the cooperation of the Tokugawa army, William, and the Onmyo mages, they stopped the giant yokai and the corpse army until they claimed victory. After the victory in the Sekigahara battle, Kobayaka Hideyoshi volunteered to bring back the head of Ishida Mitsunari from Mount Ibuki. But William noticed that Kelly was also with Mitsunari, so he decided to give chase immediately. When William caught up and faced Mitsunari, the latter revealed his inner feelings. He wanted to use Kelly's alchemy to resurrect his former master, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, because he believed with all his heart that Hideyoshi could create a world with justice without using swords. But his faith was rewarded with betrayal. Kelly betrayed him by cursing him to transform into an Oni. After the battle ended and William defeated Mitsunari in his giant form, a mysterious onmyo, or exorcist, appeared and used the sacred water of Mount Ibuki to help cleanse the darkness from Mitsunari. That man revealed his true identity as Akechi Mitsuhide, the man who killed the Demon King, Oda Nobunaga, in the past. Mitsuhide praised Mitsunari's loyalty, but warned him that there was something more important, looking toward a greater good. Then, both Mitsuhide and Mitsunari entrusted their hopes to William to stop Kelly before more people suffered from the dark arts. William chased Kelly to Sawayama Castle, where Kelly was performing a ritual to resurrect Oda Nobunaga once again. Kelly sent the Obsidian Samurai, or the Black Samurai, to obstruct William to buy time while he himself escaped. When William defeated the samurai, he saw memories through the guardian spirit that this man's name was Yasuke, who many may be familiar with as the protagonist from the game Assassin's Creed Shadows from Ubisoft. He had been a black slave, treated like an object, but only Nobunaga gave him a sword and appointed him as samurai. He was therefore desired to resurrect his benefactor master, even though he wasn't sure if his master would actually want to return to life or not. William, Hanzo, and Okatsu chased Nobunaga and Kelly to Azuchi Castle. At that time, Hanzo received a final order from Tokugawa Ieyasu to destroy all Amriita stones, because as long as these stones existed, there would always be people finding ways to use them to cause endless conflict. A peace with such doubts would not be sustainable. When they arrived, Kelly had already successfully completed the resurrection ritual for Nobunaga. The Demon King Nobunaga displayed a vastly superior power that was on a completely different level. His strength put William in a difficult position where he could barely handle it. However, Nobunaga chose to fight only for amusement. He did not seriously intend to kill anyone. The reason was that he realized he was awakened just to be a pawn for others, which was something a demon king like him could not accept.
Yes! Kill him! What are you waiting for?
この信長を利用しようとは見くびられたものよ。誰かに使われるのは面白ない。戯れは終わりじゃ。
Nobunaga saw that the later generations had already inherited his resolve. He was well aware of the sins he bore, but he had already lived his life to the fullest and was happy during that time. Being awakened to be a villain in a political game like this was considered a foolish act. Nobunaga, therefore, refused to return and dissipated his body into the void by his own will. When the plan failed, Kelly had to face William. He decided to use his last card by merging his guardian spirit, Ouroboros, with the Amriita stone, which had Seiyushi's soul trapped inside, to resurrect the most terrifying yokai in Japanese legend, Yamata no Orochi, the eight-headed serpent. Battle, William was able to defeat Yamata no Orochi and proceeded to kill Kelly to end the grudge. He saw Kelly's memories that, in truth, Kelly took orders from a man named Sir Dee to gather Amriita from this ideal land and bring it back to him for human experiment. The Amriita stone was destroyed and Seiyushi was released. she revealed that William had died because of the war, but with the power of Seiyashir, who was a guardian spirit born from his prayers, he was able to be resurrected from death once again. As long as there was Seiyashir, William would be free from death, and as long as William kept faith in Seiyashir, she would exist forever. When William accomplished his duty, Hanzo had to prepare to kill him, according to Ieyasu's order to destroy all Amriita power, which included William's existence that was tied to it. But William did not want to die, and Hanzo could not bring himself to kill his comrade in arms. William thus chose to leave quietly. Although Okatsu was sad, she did not stop him or follow him. She and Hanzo returned a report to Ieyasu that William had died, and the secret of the Amrita stone would be buried with him. Tokugawa Ieyasu was satisfied with that report because from now on, humans would rule the land, not yokai, even though he knew well that Hanzo had lied about William. As for Ishida Mitsunari, he was sentenced to execution. Afterward, Tokugawa Ieyasu established a new government called the Edo Shogunate and ruled the land peacefully for over 250 years. Cutting back to the west, when Queen Elizabeth I of England passed away, the whole country was in mourning. William traveled back to the Tower of London to face the real person behind the scenes, a man with the title Ruler of the Seven Seas named John Dee. Dee admitted that he worked for Queen Elizabeth and confirmed that Amrita from Japan was what allowed the possessor to have power over Europe. He invited William to work with him, but when William refused, Dee used the power of the Amrita stone to transform his own body into an Oni and entered the fight. After winning, William saw the shocking memories of Sir Dee. Sir Dee was one of the ninja warriors who once participated in the internal wars of Japan during the time when Oda Nobunaga still held power. Back in Japan, though the Great War had ended, in the northern region of Oshu, Dante Masamune, the ruler known as the One-Eyed Dragon, held great power in Zipangu and had a formidable army from suppressing the Uesugi clan in the Sekigahara battle. Rumors spread that he might rise to claim power next. Hanzo traveled to find Dante Masamune at Aoba Castle to investigate reports of battles against yokai to gather Amrita, but Shiganaga, a subordinate of Date, insisted firmly that there was no threat from yokai. Date Masamune expressed interest in William and remarked that he wanted to duel the man known as the Demon Slayer at least once. William decided to sail back to Japan with Seiyashir again, as he received a plea for help from Hanzo's guardian spirit, the cat, Nekomata. The spirit, which should have dissipated, was able to be resurrected because Japan had entered a peaceful era, restoring the good faith of people, which replenished the power of the Nigitama. The urgent matter was that Hanzo had disappeared while investigating yokai in Date Masamune's lands. William, therefore, invaded Oshu and had to fight an Oni, who was actually a subordinate of Date. William learned the truth that Date Masamune's people used Amrita stones to increase their power until they turned into demons. After winning, Hanzo, who was rescued, used sacred water to help them return to being humans again. Finally, William reached Date Masamune, who revealed the secret that he had embedded an Amrita stone in one of his eyes. The fight was interrupted by a subordinate of Date who came in to beg them to stop, saying there was no need to worry about them or this land anymore. William saw Date's memories through the guardian spirit and saw that he had a great dream of building a land with his close confidants like Shigezane and Kojuro. But one died of illness, and another became a demon, making him lose heart in reaching his original goal. At that time, a Spanish woman named Maria brought Amrita stones to give him to reignite the fire of ambition once more. William tried to hunt down Maria, but after winning, she used alchemy to escape. After the Toyotomi clan lost Mitsunari and their allies, Yodogimi, the mother of Toyotomi Hideyori, rose to become the leader of the clan. She gathered warlords and wandering samurai, or ronin, to form an alliance to resist Tokugawa, preparing for a new war. Hanzo and Date Masamune therefore had to lead an army to suppress Yodogimi, with William participating as well. Hanzo's side wanted to seize Osaka Castle, but they had to pass through the Sanada Maru Fortress, which was guarded by the top warrior, Sanada Yukimura. Maria came to offer Yukimura the use of the power of Amriita stones, but he refused completely because he did not want to betray the honor of a samurai. William broke into the fortress and defeated Sasuke, a close ninja.
通さぬ。この闇は忍びの領分よ。
And Yukimura. The guardian spirit of Yukimura showed memories that he respected his father, Sanada Masayuki, very much, and came to fight at Osaka as an ally of the Toyotomi, even though he knew that Yorogimi was no longer the same woman he once knew. He stood firm in fighting for the honor of the 6 silver coins, or Rokumonsen, which symbolized the readiness to pay the toll to the afterlife at any time. However, William came only to search for Maria and did not desire to kill him. The first war, Winter Siege, thus ended with a ceasefire negotiation. But peace did not last long. Yorogimi accepted the power of Amriita from Maria and used it at Osaka Castle to start the war once again, the Summer Siege. Hanzo led the Tokugawa Alliance army to clash with the Yokai army, born from Amriita. William broke into the castle and defeated Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who in truth was only a body created from the power of the stones, until he dissipated. Hanzo dueled against Yukimura and defeated him with the support of his army. But this Yukimura was actually Sasuke in disguise. Hanzo pretended to cut the head of Sanada Yukimura and announced the end of this war. The real Yukimura waited at the center of the castle. He wanted to warn Yorogimi not to use the power of the stones because the dream of creating a world without war would never come true through demonic methods. But it was too late. Yorogimi was manipulated by the nine-tailed fox and received power until she transformed into a demon. William and Yukimura therefore cooperated to fight to stop her, while Maria took the opportunity to escape once again. When they won, William saw the very sad memories of Yorogimi. Her parents were killed by Nobunaga and Hideyoshi, but she had to marry her enemy like Hideyoshi. Furthermore, she had to lose her son, Hideyori. She therefore turned toward the dark arts to resurrect her son and hoped to use the power of Amriita to stop all wars. But in the end, she was left alone. Yukimura decided to stay with her until her final moments amidst Osaka Castle, which was being consumed by fire until it collapsed.
最後までお仕えいたします。
After the war ended, Hanzo decided to withdraw from the front stage to protect Japan from behind the scenes. As for William, he continued his duty to fight against foreign soldiers who invaded to scramble for Amriita stones. In the year 1615, the Edo shogunate government announced the beginning of the Genna era, the era of peace, which was considered the complete end of the Civil War era. For Nioh 2, the story occurs before the events of the first part. It starts from a legend told of a man with a large body and horns who appeared in a remote village. In the beginning, the villagers welcomed him because he would believe he was a blessed person who came from the spirit world. But as time passed, fear began to possess the people's hearts. The villagers turned to attack him until he had to rise to fight and transformed into a yokai, so-called Oni. But in that despair, there was a young man who rose to fight. He gathered Amriita stones to create a golden sword, Sohaya to fight that invincible demon and pass the sword down to the next generation of successors. Cutting to the Sengoku era, the most chaotic civil war era of Japan, this is the story of the man who unified the land, named Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He was born in a poor village, but with intelligence and courage, he was able to climb to the highest point. But the deep story we are about to know will be told through the eyes of the protagonist, a half-yokai named Hide. Hide had to live a life of fighting demons that rampaged across the land, and sometimes the demon blood power within her would become frenzied and uncontrollable. That is, until she met Tokichiro, a merchant who was wandering selling Amriita stones. Tokichiro used that stone to make Hide's powers calm down. Hide saw Tokichiro's memories through a guardian spirit. Hide could see that he sold stones for a living, but deep down, he saw the human spirit within Hide, so he invited him to travel together. Tokichiro brought Amriita stones to offer for sale to Sato Dozen, the ruler of the Mino province, who is infamously nicknamed the Viper of Mino. He accepted their ability and hired Tokichiro to work. Dozen had a daughter named Princess No, who married Oda Nobunaga to create a strong alliance. And he also appointed his son, named Yoshitatsu, to be the leader of the Sato clan in his place. He often hired outsiders who were not warriors to gather Amriita stones. Later, Hide met Mumio, a mysterious woman who was Tokichiro's friend. She traveled to Mount Tatara in Mino because she heard rumors of yokai rampaging. Mumio almost killed Hide, who was a half-demon, but Tokichiro came to stop her and invited her to cooperate. But her goal was to hunt demons, so she didn't accept this invitation at first. Not long after, Saito Yoshitatsu rebelled against his own father and sent a yokai army to kill Dozen. When Hide rushed in to help, she saw Dozen's memories and received knowledge of the shocking truth that Dozen was her biological father. In the past, Dozen used the name Mumio, the name of the position of the leader of the Sohaya group, a demon hunter group. But when he fell in love with a woman who was a yokai, he decided to destroy the demon-slaying sword and discard the name Mumio to live with her. They had a child together and promised to gather Amriita stones to prevent anyone from using them the wrong way, hoping to create a world where humans and yokai could live together until the woman passed away. Dozen knew well that Hide was his child. He therefore decided to sacrifice his life fighting the swarm of demons to buy time for Hide and Tokichiro to escape to the Owari province with help from Mumio, the current one, as another force along the way. Tokichiro took Hide to ask to join the Oda clan under the leadership of Oda Nobunaga, who is Dozen's son-in-law. Nobunaga was a leader with a broad vision and new ideas, which helped him expand power quickly, but it was exchanged for creating many enemies. One of the archenemies was Imagawa Yoshimoto, the ruler of the Suruga province. Nobunaga, thus, decided to open a major war. During the battle, Hide was able to break in and kill Imagawa Yoshimoto, who had killed his own siblings for power. Tokichiro admired that Hide can suppress the Imagawa clan, and Nobunaga was greatly impressed by Hide's ability. The next mission was to build a castle at Tsunamata to use as a base. They met Hachisuka Kuroku, the leader of the Kawanami group, who were yokai of the Kappa, or water sprite types. This group was wealthy from controlling the Kiso river route. Kuroku saw Tokichiro's ability to use Amriita to stop yokai from being frenzied, so he agreed to cooperate. Additionally, Tokichiro and Hide went to invite Takanaka Hanbei, a former strategist of the Seito clan, who had secluded himself due to being seriously ill. Hanbei agreed to join the Oda clan to help seize Inabayama Castle after Tokichiro used the power of Amriita to cleanse the darkness for his guardian spirit. After receiving victory, Nobunaga announced the change of the name Inabayama Castle to Gifu and used it as the main command base. In the victory celebration, Tokichiro asked Nobunaga to grant a new name for himself and Hide, and that name was Hideyoshi. This was a combination of Hide and Tokichiro to signify that they were the same person in history.
秀吉とせよ二人で一つの名とは古今例がない他に類を見ぬ働きがお主ら二人であればできるまさに仁王のようにな
Nobunaga wanted to expand power toward the capital, so he had to invade the Echizen province of the Asakura clan. But to get there, he had to pass the Omi province, which was ruled by Azai Nagamasa, the brother-in-law of Nobunaga who had married Oichi. But then, an unexpected event occurred when Azai Nagamasa decided to betray the Oda clan. During the retreat through the yokai forest, the sword of Hide and the necklace of Mumyo glowed in response to each other. This made Hide see memories that Mumyo was taken in and raised by the Sohaya group to be a demon hunter. She believed that when the Sohaya sword, which was broken and had become Hide's dagger, glowed again, the darkness would be purged and destroyed. When Nobunaga regained his footing, he led an army back for revenge. Hide had to fight Azai Nagamasa, who used the power of Amrita stones until he transformed into a yokai. After winning, the body of a mysterious black-robed priest separated from Nagamasa's body and tried to attack Oichi, but Tokichiro came to block it in time. Before dying, Nagamasa entrusted Hide to help take care of Oichi, his wife. He confessed he went wrong because he wanted great power, like his brother-in-law, until he was possessed by shadows. But he indeed cherished his wife. Tokichiro began to build his own castle at Nagahama, but at the same time, he began to fear the power of Amrita stones that might make him swallowed by darkness. But the situation forced his hand when Nobunaga ordered the purge of the resistance group at Honganji Temple, which had the Saika clan mercenary force, led by Saika Mogoichi, guarding it. Tokichiro volunteered to handle this battle. Nobunaga, who was impressed that Hide helped save his sister, gave her a guardian spirit and revealed his resolve. He did not care about birth, whether it be god, demon, or the power of Amrita. He would control everything to create a paradise for all worlds. Hide broke in and defeated Saika Magoichi and saw that he could merge with the guardian spirit. The war ended with the burning of the Honganji temple, even though Nobunaga spared most of the enemies, based on the order of the emperor.
なんかチクッとしたの
あんたも背負ってんだな
The major turning point of history arrived when Nobunaga stayed at the Honno-ji temple to prepare for war with the Mori clan. But he was betrayed by Akechi Mitsuhide and Saito Toshimitsu. Honno-ji temple was surrounded until it became a fortress with no escape. In the end, Nobunaga decided to perform the seppuku ritual to take his own life amidst the flames. Oichi never liked the war. Because of the war, she lost every person she held dear. She wished for Hide's safety in dealing with Mitsuhide. Upon arrival, Hide found that Saito Toshimitsu was possessed by the black-robed priest until he became a yokai. After Hide won, Tokichiro led a sudden force in to kill Toshimitsu. Hide saw Toshimitsu's guardian spirit move to stay with Tokichiro, thus realizing immediately that Tokichiro was the real traitor who killed Toshimitsu to silence him. Before dying, Toshimitsu entrusted Hide to protect Mitsuhide. When Hide followed and found Mitsuhide, she saw the truth that Mitsuhide did it to maintain the balance of power, not for personal reasons. Hide thus decided to spare his life, and later, Mitsuhide ordained and changed his name to Tenkai. Hide walked a different path from Tokichiro. Hide instead went to join Tokugawa Ieyasu in the Mikawa province, under the advice of Hattori Hanzo.
秀千代殿だったとは流行りすぎたようだ。徳川が家臣、服部半蔵にござる。
But the war was not over yet. Shibata Katsuie, Oichi's new husband, became the new target of Tokichiro. When Hide went to help Katsuie at Kitanosho Castle, he found that Katsuie had used Amriita power until he became a yokai to protect Oichi. After Hide released him, Katsuie asked him to take Oichi and flee. However, Oichi, who had lost her loved ones over and over, chose to end her life, following her husband. Tenkai led Hide and Mumyo to meet Rikyu, the political advisor of Oda Nobunaga. He realized the threat from Tokichiro's expanding power and the Amrita stone in his possession, so Rikyu agreed to help defeat Tokichiro. Tokichiro, who now possessed absolute power, offered Hide a chance to return to work for him with the promise of both position and wealth. But Hide refused. The fight occurred and ended with Hide killing Tokichiro. However, Tokichiro's corpse was then resurrected by the black-robed priest, using Amrita power into a semi-demon state. The resurrected Tokichiro brought madness that covered all of Japan, and even Hachisuka Kuroku was swallowed by the darkness. Tokichiro followed and killed Hide until Hide fell to the world after death.
この力があれば、お前はもういらん。
There, Hide met Hanbei and her mother, who warned her that Tokichiro was gathering Amrita power to rule Japan, and asked Hide to stop him at Byodo-in. After waking up, Hide invaded Byodo-in, Tokichiro's castle. She successfully gathered the pieces to recreate the Sohaya sword by breaking the seals of the nine-tailed fox and Chutendoji. This point is extremely important because this nine-tailed fox spirit would flee to hide and wait until it possessed the body of Yorogimi, becoming the mastermind behind the chaos that William, the protagonist of the first part, had to resolve in this story. Cutting back to Hide, she entered the fight against Tokichiro for the last time. After winning and successfully releasing Tokichiro from the nightmare of greed, Tokichiro passed away peacefully. Suddenly, the black-robed priest appeared. Hide used the Sohaya sword to cut its horn and was pulled into a dimension within the mind. There, she met the real identity of the priest, Otakemaru, the legendary Demon King. Hide used the Sohaya sword to destroy Otakemaru's horn until he dissipated. Time passed until the era when William traveled to Japan, the events of Noah 1. William met Hide, who was slumbering and being possessed by the black-robed priest again. William helped call Hide back to his senses, and the two reached an understanding and cooperated. Maria, the villain from Part 1, returned and tried to use Amriita to resurrect Tokichiro once more. Hide interrupted the ritual and faced with Otakemaru, who separated from the Amrita stone. Hide had to go in and fight Otakemaru in the mind again until she received victory, making Tokichiro regain his senses and return to being human. Maria was in shock because she thought Tokichiro, or the Overlord Hideyoshi, is a fearful demon king equal to Nobunaga, but now seeing the good and kind Tokichiro instead. Together, they helped stop Maria's plan until William was able to capture her. After everything was peaceful, William lived his life with Okatsu and his son, while Tokichiro traveled across the river to the next world with his clear mind. Hide and Mumio set out to further suppress the remaining yokai. Everywhere Hide went, she would go back in time to experience legends of the past through the Sohaya sword. Hide went back to the Heian era, where he met Minamoto no Yoshitsune and Benki. Hide fought with the Taira army and received a flute that was a spiritual medium, inheriting Yoshitsune's resolve. When he went further back to the middle of the Heian era, he met Minamoto no Yorimitsu, or Daiko, in female form, and Abe no Seimei. While Hide helped suppress Ashiya Domen, Seimei and Raiko sealed the Nine-Tailed Fox and Shuten Doji before it broke out in the era of Hideyoshi. And finally, going back to the origin at the legendary village, Hide met Otakemaru in the past, before he was born as a demon king, and Suzuka Gozen, Hide's mother and Otakemaru's sister. Suzuka sacrificed her life to create the first Sohaya sword. Hide used that sword to suppress Otakemaru, cutting the cycle of grudge across lives and sending the spirits of both to eternal rest. This is the concluding legend of Nioh 1 and 2, the story of a samurai, a half-demon, and the ambition that drove Japanese history.
長い戦いを終え 永遠の安らぎを与えました。
Thank you for following and watching! I can't wait to continue this story for you in Nioh 3. Thank you so much for following along and watching! If you enjoyed this journey and want to support my channel, it truly means the world to me. I created this channel specifically for fans who love deep game stories but might not have the time to play through them all themselves. Here on PST, my goal is to let you enjoy these stories just like watching a movie. If that sounds like what you're looking for, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.